after the family of Vern Braswell called for a public statement of apology from Criminal Court Judge Paula Scahan and said they are contemplating a formal complaint with the Tennessee Board of Judicial Conduct because of overt unprofessionalism and verbal abuse against black defendant, Vern Braswell. The Braswell family now says they have found almost a dozen recent cases that point out that Judge Scahan regularly shows incompetence, unprofessionalism, and biases against defendants of color that appear in her courtroom. Recently, approximately 10 cases have been overturned because of Judge Paula Scahan's poor decision-making and rulings. One case in particular that typifies how Judge Scahan treats black men in her courtroom and results in the denial of justice, is the case of Darren Woods. This is yet another case where Judge Scahan's meanness and shortcomings interfered with the proper administration of justice, so much so that the Tennessee Court of Criminal Appeals had to intervene by remanding the case back to Judge Scahan with instructions, after Judge Scahan refused to give Mr. Woods the proper time and opportunities to prepare his case. Judge Scahan obviously did not care about the rights of Mr. Woods, as she improperly forced him to forfeit his rights by not even caring if Mr. Woods had a proper chance to prepare for court. Other recent cases where the Tennessee Court of Criminal Appeals had to intervene, and also exemplify why Judge Paula Scahan's judgment and decision-making demonstrate that she is in need of an intervention or is unfit to remain as a judge include the case of Dylan Brewer, where Judge Scahan failed to read written instructions to the jury. The case of Darrell Malone, where Judge Scahan dismissed this man's case because she could not properly compute how long Mr. Malone had to file his case. The cases of DeAndre Peterson, where Judge Scahan erroneously admitted evidence during Mr. Peterson's cases. The case of Carlos Smith, where Judge Scahan failed to make findings in her rulings on Mr. Smith's case. The case of Reginald McWilliams, where Judge Scahan forfeited Mr. McWilliams' rights without proof as she claimed that Mr. Williams abused the judicial process, also without proof. The case of Edward Dean, where Judge Scahan did not know which offenses met definition of crime of violence. The case of Martinez Henderson, where Judge Scahan interfered when she flagrantly, unreasonably, and unnecessarily refused to let Henderson continue to pick his own jury by stopping the proceeding when she was happy with the jury members that had been selected. The case of the Honorable Henri Brooks. In this case of a woman who was a champion for blacks and poor citizens, Judge Scahan used a television news broadcast to make a judicial ruling to the defendant's detriment. The case of Marcus Ward, where Judge Scahan failed to recognize that a judge was required to advise defendants of the mandatory sentence of lifetime community supervision because it is a punitive and direct consequence of the guilty plea. Based on these cases, Judge Paula Scahan may have an issue with respecting and protecting the rights of citizens of African American descent that appear in her courtroom. These are the types of Jim Crow attitudes of disrespect by white judges towards black men that need to be removed from the criminal justice system. If you're looking for a judge who will treat black men and women with respect and will protect their rights, Division I of the Shelby County Criminal Court is not that place. We want the administrative judge of the Shelby County Criminal Court. We want the Tennessee Board of Judicial Conduct. We want the Tennessee Supreme Court to take action to ensure that no black man in her courtroom is ever subjected to this treatment again.